What's going on, everyone? It's the Sticks and Balls podcast. It's your boy, Bobby D.
And Matty Frex.
We're back, baby.
It's been a while.
U.S. men's national team. It's been like 2 months.
It's been a while,
2 months, right?
Yeah.
Since March?
Yeah, we've been dealing with the Stanley Cup playoffs, so
Yep.
it's a good
It's not a bad problem to have.
good gap filler.
Well, a lot has been going on since even just the last podcast for the hockey side of Sticks and Balls podcast. We've had rosters called up for the U.S. men's national team. We've had a friendly. The U.S. U20s have been doing their thing.
Yeah.
We got 2.
Gold Cup schedule announced, Gold Cup roster announced.
Things are moving. It's summer season for
Confederations Cup's coming up.
Confederations Cup is coming up. Yeah.
R.I.P.
We don't care about that. But so yeah, today's agenda is pretty simple. We're gonna recap the U20 World Cup run as best of our abilities as possible.
I saw 1.5 games.
I think I watched.
Most of the New Zealand game is the only one I fully saw.
I turned it on in like the 25th minute because I was getting to work.
Played, who was one of their? Oh, the African country with the S. I can't think of it.
It's not Senegal, is it?
It might have been. Wow, we're terrible.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, they did pretty good. Was it back-to-back?
Back-to-back quarterfinal appearances, and 2 years ago, they lost in penalties, I believe, to Serbia. This year, they lost 2-1 to Venezuela.
Good team.
Really good team. They were just
Strong.
bigger, faster, stronger, and better tactically.
It's funny. I set my alarm because that was like a 2 a.m. game.
Yeah.
We were like day drinking all day, and I was like, I'm gonna set my alarm for that. Like everyone's like, you're not waking up for that. Well, I did not wake up for that.
I was in Boston for a bachelor party this weekend, so
Yeah, that's right.
I was up. We were all up, but there was zero paying attention to of anything after midnight. That's for sure. So I think the one big thing about this U20 thing is that we spoke about it before the podcast is the U20s were missing literally like 5 or 6 of the best U20 players in the
full
pool.
strength.
If the U.S. team were able to call in their best players and like Schalke didn't,
It would be a huge upset they didn't win the tournament.
yes, absolutely. And this team itself, they thought they were already
And they
good
were
enough.
considered one of the favorites. So
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
in itself
Being back-to-back top 8 team in the world at the U20 level is not a bad problem to have.
yeah. Everything pretty much went well there, I think, except
Zalalem tore his ACL.
yeah, Gideon. Is it Gideon?
Gideon.
Gideon. Yeah. He yeah. Oh, that was like the first game, right?
Yes.
Yeah, poor kid. He's had a rough couple years.
Yeah. Was dubbed an Arsenal starlet, the next Cesc Fabregas.
Yeah, the next playmaker.
Yeah, and then he gets loaned out to
Rangers.
Rangers does well,
Rangers,
but then they
did
stop
okay
playing
there.
him. Then he comes back, thinks he's going to be able to break into the first team. Nope.
They brought him to a second division.
And then they loan him to a second division Dutch team.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even play there. So,
That's tough.
I
So
mean,
another guy that Miazga didn't. He could have been. He's
no,
eligible.
he finished like the last 2 months
How
on
old
the
is he
first
now?
team. He's like 20, 21,
Okay,
22.
so he's not in that. But yeah, he
He did well.
that's
He
off
fin-
topic.
yeah.
But yeah, other guys that did good. Obviously, the first was probably Josh Sargent. I forgot, how many goals did he have? Ended up
3
being?
or 4.
I think it was 4 because there was that one that chipped off his knee or something.
Oh, yeah. He reminds me of Jack
A
Eichel.
little ginger.
He literally looks exactly like Jack
Yeah.
Eichel.
He's a little.
But he's a U17 player.
He's 17. He was one of the youngest in the tournament.
Yeah, and he's verbally agreed to join Werder Bremen in the Bundesliga. Fun fact.
Just to let you fun fact on that. First ever favorite team, FIFA. What game was it? FIFA 05. I don't know why. When I was that age, I loved the color green and orange.
They
And
were a bomb back in the day.
They had the Kappa jerseys.
Yeah,
Is it Kappa?
I think so.
Yeah.
Kapla. I think there's an L
I
in
don't
there.
know. It's got like the.
Or it is double P.
It's got
I
like
think
the.
it is.
It's got like the dude. It's
two-
got the sister and brother, girlfriend, boyfriend. I don't know the two.
I don't know. I always thought it was 2 girls sitting back to back.
No, it's a guy because the one has tits. I don't know.
Oh.
I would always.
Well, then it's just weird. But
Yeah,
either way,
maybe one's-
he's agreed to join them while in the likes of other teams like Manchester City have voiced their want in him. Who else? Schalke says they missed out on him.
I think it's better if he goes somewhere like that.
Yeah, stay in the Bundesliga.
Somewhere smaller, but you get playing time.
They actually appreciate developing young players.
Yeah, they loved Morris.
But also the fact of you don't need a European work permit to be able to play there. So, Josh Sargent, stay in Germany.
Yeah. Probably the other good players in the tournament. I'm a big fan of this new Tyler Adams.
Yeah, not really new. If you're a big,
he's
if you're an
Red
MLS
Bull, Red Bull
follower,
guy.
he's been hyped
But
up.
this was his first year starting pro. Like he's been playing decently, and for being a small guy, not overly physical, he's a
good box-to-box midfielder.
He's a box-to-box midfielder. He just does it all. He's pretty good technically, and
he had that sick back heel to Josh Sargent when he scored one of.
Yeah.
I think there was their 1-0 victory.
Yeah, he's 18. You got obviously we know about Carter Vickers. We don't really need to talk about him.
He's going to be pushing through the first team soon.
He's got a body of a 25-year-old. Like dude's a monster.
Yes.
Brooks Lennon. We all knew about him for a couple of years, but he kind of is putting a name for himself, especially with Real Salt Lake and.
Yeah, he used to be in the Liverpool Academy. He's still with
He's
not. He's loaned out.
Yeah, he's loaned out. So
it was weird because he started in Real Salt Lake in their academy, went to Liverpool to their academy.
And they're like,
then they loaned him back. Then they loaned him back out to Real Salt Lake, but for the first team, and now he's doing well. Same thing with Sebastian Salcedo, who's on Real Salt Lake. Real Salt Lake is hurting right now in MLS because they had 4 players from their team, 3 of the 4 who are starters for them at the U20 World Cup. Justin Glad did really well for them.
Not a bad thing to. Not a bad problem to have, but their season,
their youth team, so like their USL team, their reserve team, is in first place in USL right now. They've only lost once.
There you go.
They're doing well.
And then the other kids that weren't even on this U20 team.
Yeah, Christian Pulisic.
Obviously Pulisic. Yeah, we know he's
Weston McKinney, who's going to be pushing for a first team spot next.
And Haji Wright,
and Nick Tateg.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 who
Bundesliga, baby.
Weston McKinney is definitely going to be pushing for a first-team spot in Schalke next year. We know that. We'll see about Haji Wright, and we'll see about Nick Tateg. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
I don't know that half the time on any of these.
But, yeah, good job to them. And there's not a direct correlation between doing well in youth tournaments and stuff like that.
It means nothing because it's just that age group.
But at the same time,
typically your better players don't play in that because they're already advanced to a senior level. And
when Costa Rica made the semis, or was it the round of 4?
No.
In the last World Cup.
Did they make the round of 4?
It was definitely the semis.
They definitely made the semis. They were
They're 2009 and 2011.
They were the Cinderella story.
Their 2009, 2011 U21 and U19 teams did really well in the U20 World Cups and stuff like that. So
there's definitely a lot of value there.
Yeah,
the experience of just being in a big tournament, playing for your country, blah blah blah. So U20, good success. Too bad they couldn't have beat the team that they had a decent chance of beating.
And shame on you, Schalke, for not releasing the 3 guys.
Yep. So.
All right,
let's get to it. World Cup qualifying.
Do you want to break down the roster?
Yeah, let's talk about the roster.
Let me pull up the roster.
The sad thing now without Klinsmann is our rosters are pretty boring. There's not much change ever.
Which isn't a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing.
I enjoy consistency.
It's just not. Yeah, there's not much to dissect with the roster.
Did you see that Bruce Arena sort of threw him? Klinsmann.
Yeah, he just had a comment. It was what did he say? I just like to keep it consistent. Was basically the summary of it.
Yeah. My parents are upstairs. If you can hear rumblings going on, folks, through the microphones, my parents just got home. Just remember that S&B HQ is back at the parents' household. All right, so
save that money.
Let's break this down by position. The goalkeepers: Nick Raimondo, Tim Howard, Ethan Horvath, and Brad Guzan.
So I just want to touch real quick. They'd made a 27-man roster, a little bigger than normal. One, because I didn't know this, there's not a lot of time between the 2 games. And the main reason for that is because Mexico has to play in the Confederations Cup. They had to kind of bump that game a little early.
I didn't know that. It's a cool thing.
They because there's only Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Two days.
Play Thursday night, and then they got to hustle down to Mexico City.
Yeah, so that's kind of 2 altitudes. Yeah, just all over the place. And
That's why
my ears would be popping.
They played the first game in Salt Lake City against Venezuela, this warm-up. And then next game's in Denver, I believe. And then they go down to Mexico City.
Salt Lake City, I don't know what the altitudes are, but it's kind
pretty
of
high.
Pretty high. Colorado's a little higher. And then, obviously, Mexico City is just up there.
So, yeah, recap goalies, Raimondo, Howard, Guzan, Horvath, no shock.
Yeah, so you have your 3 typical goalies you knew were coming in.
Yep.
And I think just having that added roster, bringing a youth guy.
Who's probably, one for the future.
One for the future, and I think he's probably deserved out of all the other guys. Sean Johnson, who else? Hamid.
Bill Hamid sucks.
Yeah, he's
every week he's got like a howler for the past 4 weeks. He
struggled with injuries. Who else you got?
I'm totally on the
maybe
train.
Gonzalez now. We'll talk about that later.
I'm totally on the train of get rid of the hype around Bill Hamid.
Yeah,
he sucks.
Well, he's almost 25 now. Is he 25 now?
25, 26. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Defense. On US Soccer they put it alphabetically, so I gotta scroll up and down.
That's fine.
We got Zusi Yedlin, Jorge Villafana, Tim Ream, Matt Hedges, Omar Gonzalez, Jeff Cameron, John Brooks, Matt Beasler, DeMarcus Beasley. They actually sent Beasler back.
Yeah, and then Chandler got hurt.
Yep.
I mean, Beasler probably didn't really have he's a good sub that can kind of play anywhere.
He's like our backup.
Backup.
Our backup left center back.
You know exactly what you're getting with him. He's not
consistent.
Yeah, he's consistently okay.
It's better than consistently bad.
And he has good experience at high level, so international play.
Props to Matt Hedges getting back. He got hurt.
Zimmerman was hurt, right?
Zimmerman's hurt. Yeah, he's out 6 to 8 weeks. And Matt Hedges got hurt in the last camp that he got called up into. But he's a beast.
Yeah, I mean the best pairing in MLS. Mm-hmm. Those two right there.
One
guy I thought was a snub was probably, I wouldn't call him a snub. There's really no snubs. It's pretty obviously who's making this roster. I've watched a lot of Atlanta games and I love Greg Garza. Mainly, but I mean, take it with a grain of salt because he has awesome forwards in front of him like Almiron and everything. Yeah. But he looks great.
He just scored this past weekend.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love watching them.
We'll get into it. We're gonna do a whole episode on the Gold Cup, preview that bad boy in a few weeks. But Greg Garza did get he's on the preliminary roster.
Injury. The only one that the injury is Jermaine Jones. I'm not really upset about that because I want to see new blood.
At all, yeah.
Zardes has been coming back from an injury, so he's not going to get.
He's a Gold Cup guy.
Keep going with the D. So,
I mean, you got your typical dudes there.
We got Yedlin back. He was hurt last round of qualifiers, so I'm pumped about that. If anyone knows, I am a huge Yedlin fan.
Yeah, and
always has great hair and stuff. Follow him on Instagram.
He did pretty decent in the game against Venezuela. He had
a couple good crosses.
He's got one or two plays where he oversteps a little, but because of his pace, he can make up for it.
That's why he knows.
But then there's always someone faster than you. My dad's always told me that. There's always someone faster than you, and there's always someone tougher than you. So you just got to be careful, Yedlin, when you step. But he's gotten a lot better.
I don't know who's faster than him though.
Yeah, I mean, he's someone from South America.
I don't know.
There's always someone faster than you. You just got to remember that. But his tactical awareness, you could tell, has gotten so much better since he's been playing under Rafa Benitez.
Yeah, it started with Sutherland and then Newcastle. Shout out to Newcastle. Another my first ever favorite Premier League team, Newcastle United.
That's a pretty dope logo.
I've always loved their crest, and their stadium was really cool.
The tune from Goal.
And it's
you ever watch that movie?
No.
You never seen Goal 1 or 2?
No.
Oh, you need to watch it. It's so bad, but it's so good.
Does it have that place in there?
Yeah, because this dude who lives in Southern California, who is an illegal immigrant from Mexico, gets picked up playing men's league soccer by a former scout for Newcastle, goes on trial there, wins a team spot, and then eventually gets transferred to Real Madrid. That's the second movie, but you should watch it. It's good.
Sounds like a good cult soccer movie.
Little side tangent there. Midfielders now. We got Colin Acosta, Paul Arriola. I love him. Alejandro Bedoya.
He doesn't get enough talk about Arriola.
Michael Bradley. Fabian Johnson. Dax McCarty. Darlington Nagbe. Christian Pulisic, the God. And that's it.
Yeah, probably who's a snub? But we have to say snubs for each one. Sasha, I'd probably say
Sasha, Benny. Sasha and Benny.
Benny.
Danny Williams.
Yeah, I was going to say Danny Williams.
That's the biggest one that I've seen on Twitter.
Yeah, it's poor. They didn't make the Premier League. They lost out.
I think he's gonna get transferred though, because his contract's out, so he could go on a free anywhere.
Yeah,
he
can go anywhere. I've always liked him. Something about him.
There's talks about
he's been trying to play in the Premier League forever. That's why I say it. He sucks that they lost in the playoff to Huddersfield.
Huddersfield, yeah.
Speaking of Huddersfield,
David Wagner just re-upped his contract.
David Wagner.
Did you see that?
He's pretty much German, but he played for the U.S. men's national team.
He says he feels American, so.
Yeah, I think he only played like 8 games or something like that. I could be wrong.
It's more than me. It is 8.
Yeah.
I looked up his Wikipedia page.
But no, he is, and he just said he's not signing. A couple teams had interest with him, and he's staying with Huddersfield.
Yeah,
loyalty.
Well, the big thing was David Wagner was like linked with Borussia Dortmund, like you had said, because he's the previous U23 coach there.
Yeah.
But Borussia Dortmund, obviously, we know that they fired Thomas Tuchel, but they hired the Ajax coach.
Yeah, the Ajax coach. And
I think David Boss is his name.
Seems he loves young wingers.
So I don't think there's a problem with Christian Pulisic.
Pretty much falls into what they do good at. They play young guys, and they give them the reins, and they always succeed. So,
yes. So the players I like in the midfield are Callum Acosta. I've been all about him.
I know.
All about him. Paul Arriola goes under the radar. A little SoCal boy, plays down in Mexico at Club Tijuana. He's a winger. He's listed as a midfielder, but he could also play right back. He plays wing back for Club Tijuana, but he also could be in like a 4-3-3 system, like that top right winger.
I just see him. I mean, I like him.
He's versatile.
I see him as a depth guy where you can
and
kind of plug in.
He's young. He turns 22. He's 22.
Deuces.
So from Chula Vista, California.
Obviously,
he's got a lot of time ahead of him.
Michael Bradley's there, whether you like him or not. I'm just sick of the discussion. He's playing, so suck it up.
Yep.
He's back there.
Fabian Johnson looked a little rusty.
He did.
But that's because he barely played in the second half of the season due to injury. Mönchengladbach didn't have any.
And he's barely played at that position for the U.S.
Correct.
He's a weird story. So we all know on paper how good he is.
Arguably the best player in our pool.
Yeah, probably one of the most experienced, high-skilled, technical player. But I don't know. He just hasn't found his. I mean, Klinsmann's mostly at fault for this, but he hasn't just. I mean, not that during his time, I still would have played him at left back anyways, but it seems like we found a left back.
Yeah.
Filifana.
Love him. But, I mean, just to piggyback off what you're saying, he missed the last camp because he was hurt. That was a brutal camp also with injuries. But it's his first time under Bruce. First time dealing with him. I think he spoke with him on like a phone call, or Bruce came to like one of his games.
I think he went to Germany. I think Bruce went to Germany when he first got hired.
Yeah, so he's just got to get familiar with the guys. He's been playing left back, right back, midfield. He even said, I saw on a YouTube video at US Soccer, he's like, I just want to play. Now that I'm gonna get used to a position, I just got to get used to it. There's no excuses really.
Yeah.
He's like, now that I don't have to worry about switching from midfield to right back to left back within 3 days. Yeah. He literally called out Klinsmann. It was great.
He should. And well, Klinsmann, didn't he call him out for wanting to get subbed out of that one game? And he sent him home early
he was
for being
hurt.
Soft. And
then he goes back to Borussia Mönchengladbach.
He questioned his his nationalism. Who knows? Whatever. Forwards are pretty. I think, all these guys are finally healthy, so we finally don't have.
It's quite the striker battle up top.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have.
They're all finally all healthy, so we no longer have a Wando.
Right. But
nothing against Wando. If you've heard me before, I'm a big fan of Wando. I know what he is. He should never play, but he's good for camp.
Mm-hmm.
Did make the Gold Cup roster for that purpose.
He's a great guy to have to show the younger guys how to finish and stuff like that.
Because he's not good, but he works his balls off, and that's why he's good, if that makes sense.
He finds those spots.
Yeah.
But yes, let's recap the forwards. We got the typicals, Josie, Clint, Bobby Wood, and Jordan Morris. I have no problems with those.
You can literally play any of those guys, and I'm not going to be upset.
The big thing is Josie or Bobby, because we know Bruce is going to play Clint as that secondary forward, almost as a number 10, but that's Christian's spot.
It's a good problem to have. I think Morris is obviously the fourth guy in that rotation.
Yes, absolutely. But he's not a bad problem to have.
And you can throw him on the wing if you have. He's just a good energy guy to bring on as a sub. Like, that's not a guy you want dealing with in the 70th minute as a team that's tired.
If he's coming on, woo!
He's not only fast as hell, he's strong as hell. He's built like a freaking linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got 1 foot.
But
he's great with the outside of his foot.
That is the problem.
Yeah, people like to bitch about that, but whatever.
So, that's the roster. Let's recap the starting roster that we had for the Venezuela game, and we'll break that down a little. Matt couldn't watch it. I was able to watch it to the best of my abilities.
I was able to see some. So I was out day drinking. That day was the Champions League final.
Yes.
We started a little.
What a goal by Mandzukic.
Well, I put $50 on Juventus.
Oof.
Did not end up. That goal, I was going crazy, and then after that, it just.
Zidane is a god. Anyway, we're not talking about Europe.
But, I drank all day. Then I went to the bar. We watched the hockey game, but, I had him put on the Venezuela game, too. And
what bar did you go to?
So we watched we started at Murphy's. We were just watching the hockey game, and then we went to this new bar. It's across street from Anthology. It's called Doc Holidays.
But it's like right there, right? It's on East Ave.
It used to be the old Pig, I guess. I'd never been there, but it's awesome. Always happy hour prices.
Really?
Literally $3 mixed drinks all the time. So I'm a big fan.
Hey.
They got TVs.
Get us a sponsor.
Yeah. So, we were watching that, and I was able to. I did see both goals. Like, I'm looking up at the TV, sipping my rum and Coke.
Just hard to listen.
Yeah, there was no, and same with the hockey game. But once that game got 3-0 or 3-1, I would fully watch this whole second half, really. Yeah. But I got to see Pulisic's goal. I got to see the shitty clearance by the U.S. on the first goal.
Mm-hmm.
Just, again, set pieces and brain farts, something that's always hurt us.
Yeah, well, the starting 11 was Tim Howard in net, Jorge Villafana, left back, Brooks, Cameron, center back pairing with Yedlin at right back. I think that's our strongest back line
ever,
arguably. Yeah. Right. Well, right now within the interchangeable pieces of this camp, I would say that's the.
I love Yedlin, and I have nothing bad to say yet about Villafana.
Even though Jeff Cameron did finish like the last 3 months of the Premier League at holding midfield for Stoke.
That's why I like him at center back, because he can play out of the back with the ball a little better.
But he is a completely different. Like, he's a good center back for us.
Yeah.
But I think he's better than Bradley at center defense. And it's just one of those things where
there's no more arguing about it. Bradley's gonna sit where he is.
It's just one of those things. And Bruce that's the thing. Bruce is smart enough to know he might be better at holding midfielder, but he brings that center back pairing together.
Yeah, I mean, he's got experience. He's great in the air.
Yes. He's got 4 or 5 goals, probably all from set pieces.
He's a good-looking dude.
That's a good back line. I like it. He's got a sweet sleeve. And then...
So he's definitely going to be a starter. I would almost guarantee it for the Trinidad game.
Yes. I only really think there's going to be one change. We'll get into it once I finish the 11.
So for the Venezuela game, so we had the back 4 with Brooks, too, to fill in that spot. So then we had...
And then
what formation did they pop out?
It was like a 4-1-3-2.
Yeah.
Diamond midfield, sort of.
It interchanges to a 4-4-2.
Yeah. Whatever you want. It could be a 4-3-3.
Whatever the hell you call it.
So then the midfield from left to right was Fabian Johnson on the wing, Pulisic at the 10, Bradley at the 6, and Nagby on the right. Or I think it was actually Johnson on the right, Darlington Nagby on the left, because we'll get into that when we break down the game. Mm-hmm. And then Clint and Bobby Wood up top. Josie came into the camp late because his brother got married. So that's probably why he wasn't starting. Bobby looked like horseshit. He just looked rusty.
Yeah, he had a pretty big, lengthy injury towards the middle.
He had back problems.
And he's had back problems. And we all know how good he could play from the Copa.
Yes.
When that lineup was just beautiful.
Yep.
But that's the past, and we're here.
So there wasn't much going on in the first half. Venezuela scored off of Was it a set piece? It came back out, and then they put it back in?
Was it a corner or a set piece? And it was like headed out, but it was a
bad clearance.
Yeah, again, I never even watched it.
And then they headed it back in.
Yeah, and then it went right to a guy that was unmarked, and everyone's like, the classic.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
But then, like 2 minutes after that, they almost had another goal off a set piece.
Yeah.
Where the dude headed it. Timmy Howard made a ridiculous diving save. That went off the post. Then Bradley cleared it. And then we almost actually countered off of that because Pulisic came by.
There was good parts. There was bad. They weren't good. They weren't bad.
You could tell who's in mid-season form right now and whose season had ended, and the
MLS guys.
They had to wait a month to get back onto the field.
Some guys don't like to hear the MLS guys are in better form.
Right, yeah.
Obviously.
I could care less. I just want all of our guys in good form. The second half started, and Nagby and Johnson sort of switched a bunch of times, which then the ball came out wide left.
I prefer Nagby on the left, personally.
Well, that's what people say.
But he's so good, and he loves to go everywhere that it doesn't really matter.
As long as Christian's in the, as long as all three of them are on the field,
yeah.
him, Christian, and Fabian Johnson, I could care less what side any of them are on. Because all the best teams, all they do is they interchange. One guy goes out wide, one guy fills in the middle, and then you flip. It's like hockey.
Yep.
Everyone's switching.
3-man weave.
Yeah. So the ball came out wide to Fabian Johnson. He did a little dipsy doodling, one touching to Jorge Villafana. I think Jorge overlapped, dragged the defender with him, and then Fabian did a cutback pass to the top of the box where Christian was. He one-touched it from the right to the left, pulled it to his left foot, and then drilled it far post. Side netting. Great goal by Christian Pulisic, the god.
Oh, that was a great goal. I looked up, right when that play was happening, and that shot was left-footed too, right?
Yeah, and it was powerful.
Yeah.
Jordan Morris, take notes.
I think the goalie had a little piece of it, but
either way, went side netting after that.
Good for him.
Good for him. He's got 5 or 6 goals now in 12 games.
Don't hype him.
They had their caps up here.
He's amazing.
Christian Pulisic has 4 goals and 13 caps. Not bad. So then Bruce started tinkering around the 60th, 65th minute.
Yeah, you get a bunch of subs in, get everyone a feel.
That's the good thing about these friendlies. And the experiment was maybe that they're going to do against Mexico. God, I hope not, because of the last time we played Mexico.
Hey, let's roll.
But we switched to a 3-5-2. We took Fabian off. We pushed Jorge into wing back. Same thing with Yedlin. And then we brought Tim Ream, Matt Hedges on. John Brooks came off injured.
Yeah, I think that was more of just to see who looks good at D.
Yes.
Just say, hey, let's put them all back here.
Matt Hedges came on and was just a beast.
He's a good player.
He's a beast in the air. Kellen Acosta came on. Didn't look that great. He just looked nervous. His touches were long, but he just brings a athleticism and ground coverage that Michael Bradley doesn't have. But at the same time, Michael looked drastically better when he had another person next to him in center midfield instead of just someone in front of him.
Yeah, I feel like when you put too much responsibility on him, that's when he starts. It's not that he looks bad. It's just we know what we can get out of him, and we always. That's why people always bitch about him. Is we always expect more out of him because we put him on such a high pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
He does what he does. He helps that back line, comes in, kind of swoops behind him, in front of him, picks up the ball, and he's always there. And for the most part, as long as everyone is kind of doing the job right around him, he does a good job. Does he make a bad pass every once in a while? But who the hell doesn't?
Right.
So, other than that, it's a friendly, and I think that's all we got to talk about it.
Yeah.
So
we got Trinidad and Tobago Thursday.
So Trinidad, let's give a little preview on Trinidad. Talk about the U.S. a little bit here. So Trinidad, Tobago, they are the southernmost Caribbean island. 2 islands, actually. Trinidad and Tobago. Hence the name. The Soca Warriors.
Soca.
Has nothing to do with soccer,
What's Soca, then?
It has something to do with... So you know how Jamaica, the reggae boys?
Mm-hmm.
Soca Warrior, it's like a type of music. It's like their version of Caribbean music.
Okay.
Something. I didn't look too much into it, but...
Still, that's cool.
We love the Caribbean music now. It's big in the mainstream right now. So.
Yeah.
And it's summertime. I love Caribbean music. Freaking what's it? The little drum.
The steel drum.
Oh, the steel drum's the best.
When we played, was it not the Virgin Islands?
St. Vincent.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yeah.
They did the national anthems and the steel drums.
I love it.
That was so dope. But we got a bunch of MLS players on Trinidad.
Yeah, so their main guys. So first off, I'm just going to say, so all time, the U.S. is 17-2-4 against.
Is it wins, draws, losses, or wins, losses,
I
draws?
believe it's. Shit, I don't know. I know it's, wins is first, so that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And then World Cup qualifying, I read it was 12-1-3. So, and we are, let's see, the last result that Trinidad got against the U.S. was an 89 1-1 tie for World Cup qualifying.
So we've dominated.
We have dominated them. The last 10 games, the U.S. is out at home. The U.S. has outscored them 25-3.
It's pretty good.
So basically, if we don't get all 3 points, it's a travesty. If we lose this game, we are so screwed.
We're fucked.
We are at the best in 5th place out of 6, and I think if we lose both of these games, these next 2 games here, we at the best can get the 4th spot, which is a playoff with Asia, I believe.
It's either Asia or Oceania.
Yes, I think it's Asia this time. Last World Cup it was Oceania.
Okay.
Because Mexico had they rotate them.
They played New Zealand.
Yeah, they played New Zealand, and so they have pretty much 3 guys. You know one of them pretty well.
Yes, I do.
From your Seattle love.
Jovan Jones.
The Jones squared, I call it.
So the funny thing, he plays outside right mid.
Yeah.
For country. Plays left back for Seattle.
Yeah, he's awesome at left back, he's almost like a left mid. I would not be shocked if I don't see him up high on the wing with Trinidad. The coach said he's plans on playing right. He's taking it right. He said that they're going to take it right to the U.S. in Colorado.
All right.
But just saying, that's what he said. So pretty much we got to worry about Jones and Jones.
That being the Kenwin Jones from Atlanta.
A big-ass motherfucker.
Who...
He's a big boy.
He's a very big boy. He hasn't been playing much lately because of all their younger DPs.
He's a sub.
He's their locker room guy.
He's a sub.
But he's still a beast.
He's got Premier League experience.
And then they got Kevin Molino. Was that your third guy you were going to say? Okay.
Those are the 3 guys.
He being the number 10 in Minnesota. Breakout player.
He's good. Those are pretty much it. Those are your threats, and you contain them.
Then you'll pretty much win.
Yeah, you definitely win. I think today they just sent home one of their other MLS guys, San Jose something. What the hell's his name? Cordell Cato.
Oh, Cordell Cato, yeah.
Something about he wanted his wife and kid to live with him on this trip, and they were they said it was disciplinary reasons, but they sent him home today. That's weird. He was a good D midfield D kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think they also have a couple other. They have some guy from Colorado. I forget what his name is. So Tim Howard teammate. Sure. But other than that, there's not much to worry about them. I don't really know what they play style wise.
Neither do I.
It's kind of
isn't that great of a preview.
No, I mean they said they're going to focus on their couple guys and they're going to try to play.
They just get the ball in the box to Kenwin Jones.
They're going to end up parking the bus, but
yes.
We'll see what happens. But other than that, there's not much to talk about them. This is a must-win. There's not much history between them. That's a David Goliath story where they've never won. They don't.
Yeah, we just got to get the ball and keep it.
Exactly.
And hopefully, let's get Clint to break that record.
Oh yeah, he's one
goal away.
He tied it, right?
Yes.
Last game. Or whatever game.
Against Honduras.
Yeah,
he scored 3 goals.
Yeah. So, let's get into
we shall see. You got a scoreline? Or what else?
Now, I was just say, let's get into what we think, what we want as a lineup for the US.
Yeah. I'll pull mine up.
And then we'll go with what we think.
I like that.
2 different things.
You first.
So, let's go. What do you want to do? What I think or what I want?
Want.
Let's see what I want. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. So I'm taking someone out that's pretty much a given to be in. So, back line's pretty obvious. I've also heard Tim Howard's been struggling an injury this week. I also heard Brooks had trained all day today. It was
he's fine.
Closed to the media, so we don't really fully know. But I heard Tim Howard was struggling with some sort of injury. They weren't really saying. So, So Tim Howard in net, maybe Guzan, who hasn't played at all, so maybe I don't like that.
We're going with Timmy.
Yeah, so Tim Howard, Villafania, left back. I'm going to go with hopefully John Brooks is healthy. We're going to go with Jeff Cameron, your boy Yedlin.
Yep. I have for what I want, I have the same goalie and back
Same
line.
thing.
So
I
we'll
have
just cancel out.
I have Omar Gonzalez as the first D sub.
Okay.
That's what I got. And I'm going to do I have Michael Bradley in the back. I have Christian Pulisic on the right. I have Nagby on the left, and that excludes someone that we talked about, Fab Joe. He just hasn't looked great. I don't know. He just hasn't fit in with the national team amazingly yet. So this is what I want, and then I'm going to do Josie and Clint up top with Josie kind of falling back. Am I missing a midi?
Well, let me see the.
I didn't really draw it very well.
I could still.
Nagby, Pulisic.
That's a 4-4-2.
No, because I wasn't putting him in. That was changed. Yeah, you know what? Screw it. I was going to put Kellen Acosta on and just kind of let Bradley and him decide who's
So like a
go.
flat 4-4-2, double pivot sort of thing, or empty bucket as they call it.
You know, Bradley's going to probably stay back and let Kellen kind of do his thing where he comes back.
Roam. He's like a better version of Jermaine Jones where he actually roams with purpose.
Mm-hmm. Not just with emotion.
Right. So pretty much my roster is literally almost exactly the same thing. Instead of a 4-4-2, I got a 4-2-3-1, but that could be a 4-4-2.
Mm-hmm.
I have my midfield is Johnson. Well, same back line. The 2 is Bradley Acosta. The 3 is Johnson, Dempsey, Pulisic. Pulisic on the right, Johnson on the left, Dempsey as that withdrawn forward.
Yeah, and we talked about this. I love Pulisic on the wing. Not that he's not good in that, that center spot.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't know, maybe it's because that the Honduras game is a bad sample size, but Dempsey in the middle with him, because Dempsey can work with anyone. If you are technically good, you can do anything with Dempsey. You can give him a bad pass, and he's going to make something good out of it if it's a quick play.
Yeah, especially like that little flick over the top that Christian had against Honduras. Mm-hmm. Dempsey took a touch and then
just
buried
think it's so, especially against Trinidad, who's going to be very weak on the back. Like, you're pretty much like the only guy they have on the wing that's going to be amazing is Jones, and he's going to be maybe battling with Yedlin up and down the field. Who knows? It depends where they play him. We don't really know what they're going to do.
I think they're going to try and match him up against Jorge Villafania.
And the reason I want Nagby over Fabian is I've never had a negative experience watching him play for the national team. He gets forward. He does some dangerous stuff.
Problem with me is he doesn't shoot enough.
Yeah, I guess. But, I mean, like, he's a winger, and we have good target guys that we can get into him. And Josie's looked great this year with Toronto. Josie has to play. There's no reason he's not going to play.
Josie's been an absolute monster in MLS this year.
And you got Clint. And
if he gets service, he scores goals. No matter where he's playing or how much he's playing. If he gets service,
he
buries.
His big question. That's the big reason he failed in the Premier League, I have to say.
Failed?
Josie, sorry. We're talking about Clint.
I was talking about
both
Clint.
of them, though.
But yes.
I mean, Josie's not. He's not going to. If you don't give him good service, he ain't going to do shit.
Yes. I was talking about Clint, but the same thing goes for
both of them.
Josie, absolutely. So now, that's what we want to see. What do we think we're going to see? I'll just say what I think. I think it's going to be literally the same.
Exactly what
it's going to be exactly the same lineup as last one. Just take Bobby Wood out and put Josie in.
Yeah, so you can see mine. Same back line. Michael Bradley, defensive midi. Christian up top. I got Clint a little bit more drawn back and more of like a center forward kind of thing.
He has a 4-1-3-2 drawn out, folks, but it's more of like a 4-3-1-1 just because Clint's always that
hybrid guy, because there's never a set formation. I hate to talk about formations all the time.
Yeah.
It's never like that. It's always fluctuating. Shape is still the most important thing to a team, but it's not a number. Like, it doesn't have to be some number formula.
To me, soccer and hockey are very similar when it comes to formations and positioning, when it comes to defense. When you're in your own end.
Yeah, exactly.
That's when shape is the most important. But when you're going forward, It's completely thrown out the window.
It's just filling lanes. You know?
Yes.
Okay, if Christian is in the center and he takes it wide,
Someone's got to fill that spot.
Fabian maybe cuts under him into the middle, and then Villafana, comes up.
Overlaps and stuff like that.
Just three-man weave, baby.
Three-man take pass, shoot, and score.
So it's pretty obvious what we're going to think with that. So let's get a prediction. You got to go with the prediction first.
2-0.
2-0?
2-0. I think all this talk about Fabian, I think he's going to score one. And one off a set piece. Why not?
Okay. I can't say.
Not like directly off a set piece. Like basically how last game.
All right, a header clearance with a left-footed volley.
Oh. I mean, like, headed down, save, off, bounce, takes a bounce, and then someone literally just taps it in, like a Jeff Cameron or a Brooks or something. I think, besides Kenwin Jones, we physically dominate these dudes.
Definitely. I'm going to go 3-1. I think we're going to have a lapse. I think we're going to have a brain fart, and we're going to give Trinidad their token goal that they never get in the U.S., so we'll give to that. And I'm going to say Molino scores.
Okay.
I'm going to go Molino scores for Trinidad. But I think 3-1. I think we're going to have a little, and it's going to open up. I think it's going to open up quick.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think so. I don't really have a problem with
the only threat that Trinidad really has is their speed.
I have a couple fast guys. And Jones is fast as hell. I do like watching Jones in MLS. He had that awesome, what was that cool little line play he made a couple weeks ago?
I know what you're talking about. He almost scored it was a cross. But it was one of those where it's like you start it way wide of where you're aiming, and the goalie's got to make like a diving.
Yeah, touch save over the bar.
Yeah. Okay. Preview Mexico. I haven't looked at the roster or anything.
Yeah,
like that.
I figure. I mean, I don't know if we were planning on doing another podcast before or after.
Well, it's Saturday, right?
Sunday.
It's Sunday.
The game's Sunday night.
It's Sunday night.
Sunday night.
I thought it was Saturday night.
Is it Saturday night?
It would make sense to be Sunday.
No, because it's still because it wouldn't be.
Let's double check.
But
if so, we could do another podcast.
Yeah, I was thinking we're probably gonna do another one.
It's June 11th. Okay.
No, because I was mad because the freaking NHL playoffs game 5, it literally starts the exact same time as Trinidad, which what's this game on FS1, I believe.
Yes.
And then
they both both are on FS1.
Yeah, so which sucks because U.S. Mexico, that needs to be like, should be on like prime time.
So, yeah, I agree. Let me just recap. Well, not recap. Give a little preview of the schedule of the team's schedule. So we got this game Thursday. Then we got the game Sunday. Then July 1st, just 3.5 weeks away, we got the Gold Cup warm-up against Ghana in Connecticut, and then we open up the Gold Cup.
Great friendly choice, by the way.
Yes.
Awesome friendly choice.
That one is in Hartford, Connecticut, where I think UConn plays.
We could go.
And then, I got to talk to my buddy because the Gold Cup opens in Nashville against
Who they play? They're playing
Panama.
Yeah.
So the group stage games are Panama, Martinique, and then Nicaragua.
I mean, the only ones we're probably going to is Panama. Where are the other two games at? I hope they get a good turnout.
So
who the hell's going to see Nicaragua?
Nashville, then Tampa, then Cleveland. They're all at football stadiums too, so I don't think the attendance is going to be that great. For the World Cup.
It's not going to be good,
especially since we're sending our B team. But we'll do that later. So yeah, when would you like to do another podcast? Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon? Saturday afternoon?
I'm free all Saturday.
Okay, I'm doing a pedal tour Saturday.
I know. I talked to Hickey about it.
Can't go?
Sorry, Hickey. I can. I'm just not a fan of pedal tours.
All right, whatever. You can just walk with us and then just go to each bar.
You know me. I don't like to exert more energy than I have to.
There's like a bench in the back, right? That you can
That's
sit
definitely
on.
where I would sit.
Well, why don't you do it?
That's where Tyler's going to be sitting because he's been so drunk.
That's true.
He's going to be all sweaty.
Shout out to T. Hicks.
He's going to be all sweaty in the back.
I can't pedal anymore. I can't wait for it. It's going to be so much fun. All right, folks. That's a soccer episode of Sticks and Balls podcast. It's been a while. It's been fun. Let's get these 3 points on Thursday.
Try to watch it if you're into the hot NHL. It's a tough decision, but I'm probably going to end up watching audio. I have 2 TVs in my living room, so Probably gonna do audio, soccer. The Trinidad game, it's gonna be tough because I have roommates that are gonna chirp me the whole time that don't give a shit, and they're gonna watch the NHL. Mexico game, I'm definitely watching. I don't give a shit about the hockey with that. It's U.S. Mexico. It happens. World Cup qualifying happens every couple years.
Maybe for that game, it's at 8:30 at night. I was gonna say we go to Brickwood.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. We'll see. I was thinking of doing my own viewing party. Just put it on the surround sound and just bam.
I'm a fan. Either way. Let's get these 3 points. Let's try and get one against Mexico on Sunday. We'll preview that this weekend. That's about all I have.
We need it.
All right. We'll see you next time, folks.
See you, boys and girls.